It's the start of the summer at Southampton General Hospital, one of the UK's largest hospitals, which provides care to a population of more than 3 million in the south of England. But whilst most people might be turning their thoughts to summer holidays, for Adam Orban it's the start of a 3-month project as part of his MSc in Management Sciences at the University of Southampton.
It's quite a hot topic now, really. The NHS is under constant financial scrutiny, so it can no longer really be approached as just a care-based service for patients. It needs to also be approached as a business and look at profit margins, what's costing us more, how can we make it cost us less.
With a budget of £1.3 million a day, the Hospital Trust has to have sound financial systems in place if it's to run effectively. Adam's project will be looking at one particular aspect of the financial management of the Hospital Trust.
The project in brief is looking at the patient costing system that the Trust has employed. I'm coming in as an external analyst to look at the data integrity, possible areas of inaccuracies, and how overall the system could be improved. One of the main outcomes I hope to have achieved by the end is to have given recommendations to the board that will be taken seriously and hopefully implemented in the end.
Once Adam has got to grips with what he needs to do in his project, then fact-finding and data gathering are the focus of his efforts for the first few weeks.
We're right now at the Sterile Services Department. What we're here looking at is to see if we can find a way of being able to attribute the costs for cleaning the equipment that is required in theatre more directly to each patient. Because right now it's currently being treated as an overhead, which is quite a broad brush method, and therefore not very accurate and representative of what different patients would need. With interviews and understanding the whole process, I'm going to be able to identify how it could be improved. They will do anything from around 2,600 trays a week, plus an additional 2,000 supplementary trays a week, and each one of these cost about £30 per tray. Being able to know exactly where these prices are going will be able to attribute costs on a patient level a lot more accurately.
But Adam soon discovers that there is an issue with the flow of information between the operating theatres and sterile services, which means that sterile services often just don't know what equipment theatres require.
Adam was quite blown away with what I've told him today about how the department is run, about the information that we don't receive on the theatre lists for us within the production side of the unit, and I think he was not aware of that we don't have that information in place to how we process these trays.
There's an obvious problem, an obvious solution that other people have tried to implement, but for some reason it's still not happening. And I hope maybe I've been able to find something that I believe will allow us to be able to implement some sort of actual change, but whether it does or doesn't, well, only time will tell, really.
Next stop on Adam's fact-finding mission is the operating theatres.
We're trying to look at how the theatre data gets collected for every patient and how that then gets transferred to the clerical staff and then input into the system to try and identify the different ways in which data might be lost or corrupted or the quality may be jeopardized.
Again, Adam is able to see a major problem with the way that the patient costing system, called PLIX, is being used.
But it's still interesting how even though all of these things are still there to be recorded, how sometimes they are actually missing out of PLIX.
But whatever the problems with the costing systems, the opportunity to watch the wonders of surgery is a chance not to be missed.
It's incredibly interesting being in theatre. I've always thought medicine is fascinating, be it the pharmacology of it or the actual physical interventions. All aspects of it have always enthralled me, and to actually be able to see it firsthand is, I consider, a privilege.
He'll bring his personal, evolving professional expertise as a business analyst and a business manager That will include understanding business methodology and, specifically from my perspective, someone who can work data systems. That is not my area of expertise. On top of that, he brings no preconceptions. He brings an open mind. I think that's actually really important in this circumstance. So I'm hoping that the work that he produces creates little vignettes that can be used to get the whole organisation working more intelligently.
2 months of being face to face with the reality of life in the NHS have certainly been an interesting experience for Adam.
I realised that certain things were a little bit more extreme than I had thought, and I guess some of my perspectives changed. An aspect of my project involved looking up specific costs for the different aspects of the trust, and what would make sense to me would be to just have all of the relevant costs in one area that you could quickly and easily query. But in fact, they're spread everywhere, and you have to go and call the right people, wait for them, and then they get back to you and they're not quite sure what you want, or they give you the wrong thing, and then you email back, and then back and forth and back and forth. And this constant correspondence made me realize that things aren't always as easy as they sometimes could be. The NHS is the third largest company in the world, and in fact the largest company in Britain. And that simple scale at which any one problem, however minor it might be, means that a solution could be relatively simple, but because it's so big, it might be incredibly complicated to actually implement.
3 months have flown past, and it's time at last for Adam to present his findings to the Trust.
My name is Adam Orban, and I undertook my project analysing the patient-level information and costing system for the Southampton University Hospital Trust. What I did was go through and investigate the entire process and look how the data went from actually being recorded to how it was actually uploaded into the system.
I'm confident in the belief that my project and conclusions and recommendations haven't fallen on deaf ears.
And that will then lead on to some of my recommendations for what I believe the Trust could employ to improve PLIX as a managerial tool.
And for Adam, not only is it the end of the project, it's also the end of his MSc. How has the experience been?
I would definitely recommend this course to anybody that was considering it. I came into it looking to improve my employability and learn tangible techniques that I will be able to take on to any job that I apply for, and I feel now that I have, and I'm very happy.